Alien system of 116. Let's go. Starting off with a dog. Crow. That's a fox. That's a slug. That's a monkey. That's an octopus. That's a trash. That's a shrew. That's a dog. That's a bat. That's a dog. That's a squirrel. That's a mole. That's another mole. That's an ice cream. That's a tongue. That's a flying crustacean. That's an alien. That's a berry. That's a hippo. That's a bird. That's a snail. That's a bug. That's another bug. That's a hippo. That's a dog. That's a hippo. That's a trash. Ooh, heckies. Okay, let's see what we get. So that's a lizard. That's another lizard. Come on. And that's another. That's an alligator. Let's see what we get. Nah, nothing. That's a fox. That's a squirrel. That's another squirrel. That's an alien. That's a mole. That's a booger. That's a bird. That's a bunny. That's a bird. That's a crab. That's a flying crab. That's a hippo. That's a tiny bear. That's a cat. That's a mole. That's a cow. That's a tree. That's a bug. That's a bug. Alright, let's do this again. Why not? Come on. That's a bug. That's a trash. That's a cat. That's a dog. That's a bug. That's a hippo. That's a bug. That's a cat. That's a sheep. That's a flying crustacean. That's a fox. That's a hip. That's a rock hand. That's an alien. That's a cat. That's a dog. That's a bird. That's an egg. That's a bug. That's a cat. That's a hippo. That's a and we know we dog. That's it. 70 Pokemon of the Incense. And nothing too crazy, nothing too interesting. And I'm gonna give this one like a 3 out of 10.